Yeah, so please feel free to sit down and these medicines, they help us to align. They help us to remember the parts of us that we forget so easily, and everything that I share, that I say to myself too, because I'm so quick to forget. I tell people all the time, we have this beautiful land that we tend, and I'll share more about that, but these beautiful gardens, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna make some medicine. And I go out and I have my beautiful basket, maybe the sun is out and I go and I see, a beautiful plant. And what do I want to do every time? Every time. I want to take more than what I need. I see the tallest one, and she's so beautiful. I want to take her. No, you don't take the tallest one. I see one with a bee on it. It's so beautiful. Of course, the bee's, drawn to it. I want to take it. No, you don't take it. So I'm here today. I greeted your ancestors for the last maybe 5 days because there's a lot more here than just you. You all brought all your ones with you. So I am, oh, hey, back there. Hi. So, so yeah, I greet you. I ask you, to listen with your heart. I ask you to ask questions if anything comes up. But I ask you, to be here with me in a good way. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Rose Marie Serna. Yeah, Abine. Um, my people come from a few different places. On my mama's side, we're Dene or Navajo, as well as the Yaqui people from what's now called Mexico in the Sonora Desert, and as well as the state of Nayarit. And on my papa's side, they come from Ireland. And I have been one of many land tenders and guardians over on Wapato Island, this beautiful place. Do you all know about this beautiful place, Wapato Island? Yeah, it's called Savi Island now, but we think maybe that name will change, the bridge. Yeah, yeah, the bridge has been changed, and so maybe, it's a prayer that the name will be changed. And not, language is important. Language. So Kin is the last one of his people that speaks his language. And why language is important, we don't want to just change a name of a place for no reason. We want to change the name because it holds something. It tells a story. And that's what language does. Language helps us think different. I'm speaking in a language of commerce. I'm speaking in a language, English, that helps us to think in a way of, I'm going to use the word imperialism. It reminds us every day to be in a lens of hierarchy and to take, and it feeds the greed, it feeds the hunger, the appetite for power and having what you don't have and wanting more and more and more instead of being in gratitude for what we do have, instead of being in a place of appreciation. And I talk about appreciation a lot because it is a very potent medicine. And you good people here, I believe a lot of you work with the plants, you work with the one-legged, the trees, you work with the beautiful mycelium, you work with the animals in a good way. And you're being reminded all the time how how to be a good friend to these ones. I brought some of my friends here today. They're sitting over there, the ones who wanted to join us. One of them is Goldenrod, and I'll be talking a little bit about Goldenrod later. Um, some of the Nuka Rose, some cordage that I've made. And, I brought them here because they said, bring me Jenny. We want to see these beautiful people and we want to hear the words that you have to say, and we want to tell you what to say too. So hopefully I do a good job of being a storyteller for them, because that's really the medicine that I do, is I'm a storyteller for the plants and the medicines in which I make with lots of beautiful folks here. So just to share a little bit about the land that we tend. I've had the honor of being there for 20 years now, which I feel so grateful about. But, that's a very short time. I'm still just getting to know her. And I've grown so much. This land has grown me up so much. When I first survived, I was such a different person than I am now. And we're here to not be perfect. We're here to make mistakes and to learn from them. And the land has been so patient with me as I make mistake after mistake after mistake, but still, learning and getting up and trying again and again and again. So this land that's been very patient with me, we grow maybe about 50-ish herbs, some in which we don't really grow, but they grow themselves. We have a large wetland and pond, and so we just kind of like watch them. I mean, we don't grow them anyway. They do all the work really themselves. But some which we just give a lot more space to. We grow maybe about 10 different types of mushrooms. And we make medicines with them, traditional medicines from traditions in my people's way, but also others. We really honor other ancestral lines just as much as ours. There's intact culture all over the world that are doing and making beauty in their ways, that are slightly different than ours, because of the plants that grow and the animals that walk around. And so we're always learning from them. We do our best to you know, help folks grow their seeds from their lands if that's possible. We support folks in learning their stories and reconnecting in their traditional ways as well. Um, on the land, this is very important to me actually. We have about a 3.5 acres. So we're about 30, little over 33 acres. Um, so we have a space, in the back, and that's the natural wetland. And I don't know, maybe like 8, 9, 10 years ago, some of the elders were like, Jenny, where is the place for the wild? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, where is the place where there's a safe spot for the wild and there's no two-legged ones, no humans who are so good at conquering, want to take over, who want to be on top. Where is a space just for the wild to be? And I was like, I don't know. I never thought of that before. So what do? We said, okay, well, we got to listen to our elders, right? Because, they know. And so we created a space about 3.5 acres, and it's just for the wild. So it's been, maybe 8 to 10 years now. No two-leggeds. We have had 2 interruptions, but we dealt with it. And I did get a little chola during that time. But we have this space, it's been like 10 years now, and it's totally changed the rest of the land. We have so many more pollinators. We have so many more, our soil is happier. Um, we have just the land is just thriving more because we're giving honor and respect to these ones. And not in the sense of like, oh, we do this so we'll get something back. No, no. We do it because we love. We do it because I'm a human and that's why I'm here. That's what I'm supposed to do, is to love these ones, to show up for them, how they show up for me. Their generosity, I can never outmatch. They're so generous all the time, giving and sharing. So That's the land. We're so, so grateful. There's so much more to say about it, but I also want to touch on something else that we've had the honor of being part of, and that is starting Wapato Table Unschool. And this is a place, I don't even fully know how to describe it in words, but it's a place where folks come to the lands once a month for about a year, and we have plots that is for them to grow on, to grow medicines and herbs, and to build soil, and to develop relationship with the plants, and to learn about plants, and to learn the medicine path, to be married to the medicine path, to begin the initiation of being on the medicine path. And when I say initiation, what do I mean? Because lots of intact cultures have initiation, right? And here we've sort of traded initiation for education. It's like you go and you learn and you receive and you receive and you receive, but there's not a lot about giving and being in that reciprocity. And to me, what initiation means, and if you're part of a culture that doesn't have initiations, for different times in your life, then they'll come anyway. You all have had initiations. You all have been there, you know. But what initiations tell us is, oh, something like, I didn't know I was that weak. And I didn't know I was that strong. I'm still here, and I know so much more now. And initiations you can take with you to dream time. You can take initiations with you to very intense times. You can take initiations with you when you transition from this life to the next. These are very, very important gifts to be able to hold wisdom, because you don't just become an elder like this beautiful one here by getting old, you know? It's day after day after day of doing the work, of being yourself, of, loving the things you love more than hating them, and we're in a time right now where it's really easy to see all the things that we don't like. But we can't create a future that we really want to be a part of if that's our focus. So we have to focus on what it is that deserves our care, our love, our attention, and you have to do the work. You have to start now. And then you don't just become a good ancestor on the other side by dying. No, you know. So every breath, it's okay to mess up. It's okay. It's okay. But you try again and again and again. So a little bit more about the unschool. It's it's a place, where we get to learn, um and we get to remember, we work with lots of different medicines, but I think I'll just talk about plants because I think a lot of you are plant people here. But you can go to all these beautiful, herbal schools, and you can learn, and they'll say, oh yeah, something like maybe oh, chamomile is good, for your tummy and help you feel less anxious, or they'll say something like catnip is good for gas, and these things are true, and they're beautiful. But what I don't see a lot of, and so this is really why the collective of us, a group of matriarchs, decided to start the Unschool, is because we didn't see a lot of opportunities for people to actually learn and become friends with the plants. And so that's something that's, we invite is like, what do you do? I'm sure you all know, but what do you do when you walk into a space? Say, you're going for a walk and you need some time, and you go into this beautiful forest, and you see all these plants, and it's just, it's so beautiful. So what do you do? Oh, okay, this is somebody's space, many, many beings, space, you know, there are many, many beings, homes. What do I do? If I was going to your house, I would knock on your door and I'd ask permission before I started walking in, and then I would wait. That's what I would do. I would wait. And if you answered your door and you welcomed me in, then I would come in, you know. So this is very important to do, greet and listen and wait. Wait until you hear an answer. And if they say no, then what do? You turn back around, you know. Okay, I want to respect you. I want to be in good relationship with you. I want to move in relationships where consent is honored, Okay, so then maybe they say yes to you and you're feeling so grateful and honored, and oh, maybe I'll talk about that for a little bit. A lot of people ask me, they say, Jenny, how do I know? I'm not used to listening. I don't know how to hear very well, and that's okay. That's okay. So you start where you start. And for a lot of people, it's like, what's the very first thing that you think they say? And just go with that. Don't second guess the very first thing. Yeah. So let's just imagine that they say, yes, you're welcome and thank you for asking, because a lot of people forget to do that. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Come in, and you're on your way, and you start walking and you see all these beautiful ones. And what is it like to be in a space of appreciation, while you're there? These beautiful one-legged beings that grow so tall. And they share with you every day, you breathing in and breathing out. What is that like? See these tiny, cute little ones that light up by the sun, You might see some beautiful bugs, They're so majestic, they're so amazing. And then you see a plant and it's like, come say hi to me, Say, okay, okay. So you walk up, and maybe it's like salal, or Oregon grape. Maybe I think everybody here probably knows Oregon grape. And you introduce yourself. Oh, hello, Oregon grape. And maybe you learn the name of Oregon grape from the original people that are here. Maybe you learn Oregon grape's creation story, their story of origin. You start to get to know them. You start to have relationship. You make an offering to them. Maybe it's some of your hair. Maybe it's a song that you've learned. Maybe you don't know any songs, and that's okay. Maybe you just make something up. Or maybe you made something beautiful with your hands and you brought it and you leave it just for the Oregon grape. You know, you don't take anything. No, not that time. You're just getting to know them, just becoming friends. This being is amazing. It does so much. And so much of our information there, like how we receive, information now is through a different elder. It's called like Google, your computer, and so you're going there. Oh, what is Oregon grape good for? Oh, okay. Yeah, keep me healthy, if I go out of town, going to a new place, and, tell you a list of things. That's not how I would get to know you, beautiful people. I wouldn't ask, Google about you. I would get to know you, you know. And I want to say that these things take time. And that's beautiful. Moving slowly is beautiful. And, I have so many amazing elders, I'm so blessed. And one of them is Martine Prechtel, and I got to be able to go to Ballad's kitchen actually with Rowan White, who is the keynote speaker, and we'll be sharing, I'm sure, beautiful words with you later. Um, but he reminds us a lot about courting, not like courting in the more like traditional sense of like marriage, but courting in relationship, and what that's really like. And when you're moving in a way of respect and slowness and honor, then you're not there to just take. You're not there to just mine for what can I get? How can I make some money off of Oregon grape? Or how can I be seen by my community because of Oregon grape? No, courting takes time. And it's a reverence, and it's the ability to slow down and see how amazing something really is. That takes time, and we're all the time asked to be in a culture that says move fast, move on, you know, there's no time. And so many of us are sick because of that. And we're sick because we're taught to just take and take. But when we're little children, I'm a mama, I have four babies, and I'm sure some of you have children. When you get to be around these precious little ones, what do? They want to give. And they want to draw a beautiful picture, and then they want to give it to you, or like when my kids were little, they'd go in the garden and they'd be like, here's a flower, I want to put it in my hair. That's what we do. That's who we still are. We want to give. We want to be in good reciprocity. But then, we're taught to be sick and to take and want more and more. And so my invitation to myself and to you is to start to move, move out of that. And a beautiful way to do that is to be in appreciation. So you're there with the Oregon grape, and you're looking at it and oh, it's pokey. It's okay. Maybe there's some boundaries, I need to learn about this one. Depending on the time of year, maybe it's in bloom. And so you notice the color, oh, you're so beautiful, your flowers, they're yellow, and you think about the sun medicine. Think about the sun and how generous. Every morning the sun gets up for us. Thank you, sun. Feeds us. The sun feeds us. So yeah, so some sun medicine in that Oregon grape, even though it's like not always even seeing the sun, it could be very thick forest, still pulling in that sun medicine. And you just sit, and you ask maybe some questions. Don't ask a lot of questions, just a few, That's how you move with these beings. And it take time. Hmm. So those are some of the things about the unschool that we're remembering together, Um, some other things is the act of making medicine. And what does making medicine mean? And I love to make medicine, and I'm so honored to be in this life and make medicines and share medicines with community, and I get to really pour parts of myself into the medicine. I'm like I said, I think I'm oftentimes a storyteller for the plants. And so it's like I'm not really you know smart enough to know to formulate often, but they're like, oh, hey, what about me? To go in this medicine. What about me to go in here? It's like, oh, okay. That's a real good idea. And so why? Why do you want to be in here? Oh, I want to help the people understand the above and the below. Oh, okay. So cattail and Wapato are going in, for instance, the smoked salts. We've been making a lot of salts recently. And actually, Monique here, my hermana, my dear sister, has a bag. We brought some for you to share with you because we believe, in the medicine. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we make our smoked salts. This is just one way of making medicines, there's so many. So, we listen to the plants and we listen to these ones and they say, okay, yeah, and the Wapato says, okay, Jenny, we allow you. You've been here for 20 years and you've never harvested Wapato. This year, we're allowing you to harvest 13 of us, which is for me, like to finally have permission, after 20 years of being with and around this plant is very, very special, to me in a way that I could never have understood if I would have started harvesting, Wapato in year 1, year 2, year 5, year 12. I wasn't ready, you know, but they allowed me after 20 years, this is very, very special. So Wapato is in the salt and some wild garlic and a few other ones. And, oh, okay. So we have this beautiful clay pots, and we put the medicines in the pot. And there's a place where I go gather spring water, this very, very precious and amazing. And so we add some of the spring water. We let them sit together, for a little while. And then we add fire. So we make this real big, beautiful pot of a decoction or a tea. It's got roots and lots of medicines. It's very, very potent. And we have this beautiful salt, and salt is such amazing medicine on its own, It's so amazing. And so then we add that big, beautiful pot of tea to the salt, and we let them sit, you know, for a day at least. And they just get to be together and they get to know each other and, say hi, what's up, and, maybe have a little fiesta, a little party or something and do whatever it is, that they want to do. And then the next day is sort of like their initiation, So we have this big, beautiful clay oven outside. And so we put the salt with the tea in it into this clay oven and we start fires. We let them go out. Start fire, let them go out. Depending on the time of year, it changes how long we have to do this. But this year, during this winter, season, took about 2 weeks starting fires, letting them go out because it's really important that you don't have the fire going too intensely so that everything evaporates quickly. It's like, no, it's slow moving. It's slow moving, and you want to keep everything intact. And it's also slow moving because this is their initiation also. So, you're making medicine, it's their initiation. You have to be mindful and thoughtful about what they're going through. Don't want to push them too hard. Some ways of like in which people make medicine where it's like, oh, you got to do it fast. That's really intense for them. And you want to offer medicine, to yourself, your community, your families, your people. So you have to really think about how it is that you're making medicine. So what are you doing during, for me, those 2 weeks? Oh, that's right. Thank you, fire. Thank you, fire. Thank you, smoke. Raising the heat. You're telling your story to the salt. Thank you to the plants for your courage. You know, thank you for going through your initiation. So when you come out on the other side, that you are a medicine for me that is full of wisdom, that's full of knowing, you know. And then what else? You sing songs. You sing songs again and again. You make prayers, songs. If you were going through initiation, I would protect you, you know. I would do my best so you could go through your initiation well. Mhm. So that's one of the beautiful medicines in which we get to make our, our smoked salts. And so we brought them here because we believe that they're beautiful and we believe that everybody deserves to have a little bit of the wild, when you eat, when someone comes to your home and you're gonna feed them and you get to put a little bit of this salt on there. And there's some chanterelles in there that, we're in good relationship with. We've been working with the space and making offerings and remembering them and forgetting to, showing up like little brats sometimes too and taking too much, but there's chanterelles that are in there, and how special it is. Someone comes to your house and they sit, and you maybe have a beautiful, little salad that you grew in your garden, and you put a little bit of that salt on there and to feed someone, to really feed them is so, so special. You're changing their body. Give them something from the wild that's been honored and remembered. It's going through them, and that's why, one of the reasons why we sing songs and we tell stories is because there's a lot going on, you know, and we have to remember that there's different ways of existing. Someone can believe one thing that's very different than you, and that's okay. But you don't always have to buy into that. And so it's really important to be in your imagination and to listen to stories and intact songs. They're actually medicine, and you feel it. You can smell it, You go and you hear music being played and maybe it sounds really cool and it's beautiful, but oftentimes, people are there to receive your focus, you know. But when you go and you hear music, like my sobrina Lucy, she's feeding you. What a gift. So you learn some medicine songs, and if it's hard to reach back to remember, your medicine songs, you sit with that grief, because it's real. That grief is real, but you don't stop. Keep going. You keep trying. And some of our people say, oh, we don't know our protocols, or we don't know our medicine songs, or we don't know this and that. And then I hear the elders say, yeah, that's true. But you go into ceremony and sometimes these things come back. Sometimes there's lots of ceremonies, you know. And I don't mean, and no disrespect to folks that, want to be with the mushrooms or they want to go to be with ayahuasca, you know, you have to be very careful that you're working with these ones in a good way because they're powerful, strong medicine plants, and they do things. And I have to be careful when I say those words too, because they do things I don't know and I don't understand also. They're, in their wisdom. But it's different to be in a space where the plants are really honored, the mushrooms are really honored, they're really seen, they're really heard, um, and they're tended to. Because it's like any good relationship, you tend to, say your partner, and then they tend to you, you're building the reciprocity again and again and again. Yeah, so that's a little bit about our farm and how we hope to weave, with people and be in a sacred hospitality, and listen and learn and always learning and always making the mistakes and trying again. But that's a little bit about us and what we do. But I just wanted to open up, some space for questions. And, I really appreciate questions actually, and love to hear also what, you beautiful people have to say and learn from you. And, I love to talk, so I can be up here. Talk, 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 talk. But yeah, I just want to open that space. Yes. Find out more about the unschool. Yeah, thank you. So it's a year long, and we'll be starting again in November. And I think probably applications will open up like in April, something like that. And I think we'll have capacity for about 20 folks. And let's see, something else about the unschool that I forgot to mention is that you have your own plot for, the year, but then there's definitely space for people to keep growing there 2, 3, 4 years. And if you need longer, then, we have space to share. It's not our land. We don't own the land. So we want to be generous to others and make sure that folks have time, and can learn to be good friends with these plants that they're tending and growing. So our website, wapatoislandfarm.com. Yeah, thank you. How are we on time? We have one more song if that's or if there's any other questions. Are there any questions? Okay, yeah. Um, so the animals that are living in the spaces, they was there initiation for them? Yeah, no, there was no initiation for them. There was creating a boundary for us so that we would no longer enter into their space, and we would be respectful. And I would say that the real piece was around protection, for these beings to be who they really are. And, yeah, thank you. Did I answer your question? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh, good idea. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Oh, hi. Yeah. Yeah, so the question was around native pollinators and if we're interested in incorporating honeybees. And thank you for that. So we do work with a lot of native plants, and for many reasons. So we are a no-till farm, and some of our gardens are, no longer watered, and that's really important to us. That we're not taking, too much resource. Um, about maybe like 8 years ago, we stopped um, growing annuals that even, that take a lot of water. Um, and so working with native plants, makes sense, right? For many reasons. And we also grow, different medicines and foods from places that aren't just from here, so we do have a section that we do water. But I just want to be in agreement with you around native plants and their their um their potency and their um gentleness also, to spaces. Um, as far as honeybees go, we've had them on and off on the land, and currently right now we don't have any honeybees. So if you love the honeybees and you tend them in a good way, then come talk to me later, because we would love to weave with someone who tends honeybees in a good way. So thank you. Yeah, any other questions? Yes. Hmm. When I think about children, and I'm like moving into an auntie phase in my life now, my youngest is 18. Um, for me, I come from a culture where my mother was and my grandmother were really, with me almost every day when my kids were little. And so they really got to participate and be with the kids and also share their wisdom. I was 22 when I had my first kid and so much learning still to be done. So I had the honor of having, someone in their 40s and then someone in their late 60s, something like that. Um, and I think there is a lot of just stepping out of the way and I had the privilege of being on land. My children were potty trained because they were, wandering with no clothes on. So they got to, be in that way. And we didn't have a lot of screen time and, a lot of other influences. And parenting is, I could talk about that for a long time too. Um, but spending time with your children, just like we were talking with the plants, is important. And you can't get away. Like I understand everybody's doing their best and you got to go to work, you got to go to work. But if the parents are there, or there's family members or people that are committed to being with the children, there's no substitute, for that. And so yeah, I feel very privileged and honored that they got to grow up with the land, you know. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? One on Zoom. Okay.
This is from Christy, the last message, right? I'd love to learn more about the role of the wild that is destructive slash deadly to humans and how to harness for better. Like if black mold is consuming a home, how to surrender to that in a safe, healing way to transform and not rely on the capitalistic way to take over slash repair at extreme cost. How to let a home die or retire to allow space for natural building. Yes, to focus on the land, but also to have a home there too.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that question because I have the privilege of offering limpias, and I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that, but limpia means to clean, and it's a traditional healing ceremony that I get to share with people, and one of the ways in which traditionally I've been taught is when it comes to healing, and we don't ever say we cure, when it comes to healing. Um, we work and we move in a way that's respectful to all beings. So someone comes in, and maybe they have like some type of ailment and there's these other beings, let's just say, that are living in them, kind of like the question about the house. Um, what do you do? Well, you start a relationship with them. If there's a sick house, there's a sick part of a body. What do? You listen, you know, and you move in a way that's respectful. For us, that means we have a shrine that we tend that's not on the land. And after a certain amount of like interaction with these beings and almost all the times they say, okay, we honor you, we respect you, and we thank you for the medicine that you bring and what you've taught. And are you ready to go? Almost all the time they say, yes, I'm ready to go. So we have a space. It's at Kelly Point Park, and we go there at least once to twice a season, and we clean and we make offerings and we remember these beings, and we remember, that there is no death actually, that it's a living, there's different sides and ways of being. Um, and so I would say in response to that question, um, you develop relationship in my tradition, you develop consent and asking. And it takes time to listen, you know, and that's actually a way to heal that's healthier and safer for all instead of just, and no, again, like no shade to anyone who's like, I want to take an antibiotic, and I get it, I understand it, but that's a very imperialistic way of moving, even in our bodies. So to me, it's important that we're in consideration for real healing. What was the second part of the question? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I feel there was another part to the question. Hmm. Yeah, and I want to say that, like, as humans, like where we are now, like we can be very annoying, right? To nature and to all these ones, but also like we're here to be in relationship, like we're not awful, horrible, like we're here to love and to make beautiful offerings, and we're here to listen, and we're here to use our voices to sing. And then, like intact cultures that still exist on this earth, there's an understanding of reciprocity, reciprocity, reciprocity. And that's how you exist in a way that is able to maintain everybody is well and healthy. And I'm not saying that it's perfect, you know, but um, yeah, those are my thoughts. Do we have time for a song? Okay, thank
Can
you.
we, I just want to let the online participants know we will be canceling the video and the audio because we are going to experience another song here in person. Yeah, thank you.